Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. For those of you who are on Zoom along with me, and others who are on 54th Street. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there today, but at some point I will be there. Um, this is a really important topic today that is a part of for many, the journey of caregiving, sundowning. And we realize that for us here in California, sundowning or daylight saving times occurs the first week in November, and the clock goes back 1 hour. Well, that changes what evenings look like and mornings. And so that does affect someone with a diagnosis of a dementia who has the areas of thought, such as perception and how the brain perceives things, and that's challenged. So that can present a problem. And we will definitely talk about a little bit more why does this occur, what you can do to change and to make things better, keeping a schedule and other ideas. And we certainly want to hear from those of you who would like to share about what your experiences are with this topic. And if there's someone that would like to share a story that you are experiencing or you have experienced sundowning, or sometimes some people refer to it as sundowner syndrome. That is the same thing. The shift of time that affects the brain's perception of what time it is. And that's already an area of abstraction that's affected in the brain. Anyone would like to share that you've experienced a situation? And we'll go from there.
Well, this is Michelle. I think what my mom does, I think, is when it gets to certain times in the evening, more agitated and really wants to go to sleep. But then she does it sometimes in the morning too. So it's started doing that where she wants to keep her eyes closed even though it's the morning time. But I try to, make sure that it's light so that she knows that it's, time to fully wake up. But for sure at night, I have difficulty once, it starts to shift, even if it's not all the way dark, she wants to go to sleep and her moods change.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Well, I've experienced basically the same with Pansy. Oh my gosh. But it's something that I learned to adjust to and learn to live with and to make the best for her during this journey with the Sundowners. Yes. Oh my gosh. I could almost write a book, but anyway, enough for me for right now, Petra.
Thank you. Let me just stop and first thank Sharon and Jeannie and Kimberly for all that you do with ACTS and the support group, and to say hello to Barbara and Winston Green and Gregory Dixon, and all of you who I appreciate in this journey, in this work. And I appreciate all of you. I definitely appreciate ACTS and the evolution of the support group to where it is now, and all of the families that you do support in locally here. And we appreciate all that you do and allowing me to participate in your program. So thank you all. I appreciate every one of you. And for all the caregivers that I don't know, thank you on behalf of your loved one, because it's a difficult, challenging journey sometimes. And not everyone is able to say thank you. So I'm saying thank you to you just because that's important. So thank you. Yeah, sundowning is definitely a challenging, and as we said, the transition of the setting of the sun at a different time, it does cause confusion and anxiety. And sometimes that means that there can be a behavior, because if confusion is present, confusion leads to a discomfort, and a discomfort can lead to a behavior. And so that's what sometimes you get to see the behavior. how does the brain perceives the sun, the setting of the sun, and looking at shadows and things like that. So this is why this is important to know. And so what can you do when something like that happens? We all know now that approximately maybe between 4:30 and 5:30 some days, the sun sets, and that's when you need to transition your family member and by turning on some light for them to make it easier. And that means with all that you do, showing compassion and empathy and patience, that here comes another part that you have to play, and showing even more compassion, not to argue and avoid all of those things that can occur, but also recognize that because of the brain, the challenges in the brain and the areas of thought, that when they say, I see something, or there is something in the room, that may be a shadow on how the brain is perceiving whatever they are seeing, the light from that hits maybe an item of clothing or something like that. So, as you know already, potentially, that you're not going to win an argument, you're not going to win. So, you you just nod and acknowledge. So why does this happen? People are potentially more tired in the afternoon if you have a schedule, and it's important for those of you who are caring for someone with a dementia to have a schedule so that they are able and you are able to also go through your day knowing what you have ahead of you and what time that you will have certain activities, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's really, really helpful. If you don't have a schedule, please consider having that. It's really, really important, because not having a schedule means that lots of things can happen, and that you're more frustrated because this didn't work and I had to do this and I needed to do that and I couldn't do it at all. So it's really, really important to have a schedule. There's also confusion by the changing amounts of light. And, we've had some dark days recently, and because of the rain and storm. And so there changes again how the brain perceives that. The shadows that may come about. So it's important to know that. And there again, their reactions to the feelings of being tired. Does that make sense? Anyone recognize that that could be potentially what they're dealing with?
I do.
Okay. And has anyone who's experienced sundowning with your loved one, what have you done to kind of distract them from a behavior or them getting upset? What have you done that you would like to share?
Good morning. My name is Linda, and I experience sundown in the morning sometimes, and I'm not quite sure what to do. In the evenings or the late afternoons, I kind of change the subject or whatever. I a care provider for my husband. So whatever his mindset is, and oftentimes he wants to go home, not realizing he is at home. So I put him in the car, then we go riding, or I go take care of some business. And by the time we get back home, he's forgotten that whatever was in his mind, he was going. So but I learned a long time ago trying to tell him, you are at home. I lost that battle over and over and over again. So, but for the most part, I'm having issues with in the morning because he wakes up not recognizing me and saying I'm in his room and I shouldn't be there. His wife, now this is funny to me. His wife is coming and I need to get out. I'm just thinking, so you better have this money in here.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to share?
Yes. Yes. Occasionally, Barbara, will indicate that she sees something. Initially, she would be afraid, and be reacting to what she perceives. What I've done over a period of time is I'll tend to ask her, what is it that she sees and where is it? And just reassure her that, if that there isn't anything there, that I'm here with her, she's safe. And that usually tends to, calm her down, and, then try to redirect her attention to something else that's more calming. Another thing that I've incorporated in recently within the last couple of months was a suggestion by, Jim Kelly, the facilitator over at the Brothers group, was introducing that therapy doll. She's lifelike. She has very distinctive characteristics, and usually, if she gets distracted by something, I'll introduce BB, with Barbara's baby. And usually she'll go into her mother mode. Oh, look at the pretty baby. Oh, she's so nice and cute. And that usually, that distraction usually will help calm her down. But initially it was kind of difficult dealing with her, the things that she thought that she was seeing, and she was afraid of them. But now it doesn't occur as much. And it's been reassuring. It's been a 4.5-year journey. With Barbara going through these stages. But I'm still here. I'm still with her. We have care providers that are loving, caring, compassionate.
Thank you for sharing. And to the person who's on 54th Street, we appreciate your sharing as well. And those are terms and words that you will hear a lot in this journey, reassurance and safety. And those are all of the things that as caregivers you do to provide the care for your loved one. And there are times you recognize sometimes you're told, but you go through this process, then you really, really understand that you can't argue, you can't bargain with them, and you have to let things go. And so we appreciate the journeys, and but reassurance and providing safety, these are things that are really, really important for you all. So making changes at home are really important to consider, as I mentioned, turning on the lights early to transition evening to night. You can also turn on soothing music or music that they prefer, which distracts them from the transition, and that's always helpful. Music is a very powerful tool to use when there are some issues. So know what your loved one likes or dislikes. Avoid loud or confusing noises so that that doesn't further challenge their perception and ability to figure out what's going on. And sometimes this may cause them to want to pace. Some people pace back and forth, and that's okay. Allow them to have a free space to do that. Or they may want to get up and walk, but have a space where they can do that. But usually turning on the lights earlier is really, really helpful. Has anyone done that? Transitioned the lights, turned on the lights earlier, and that has been helpful to you?
Yep, it has.
Thank
Yep.
thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, we have someone in the room, teacher.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Dejanay. I take care of my grandmother. She has Parkinson's and dementia. I also take care of my mother, who's just a little handicapped. But I turned on the lights a little earlier, and I also try to go in and talk to her. When I see the transition coming, I just try to talk maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yes. That's great. And that has worked for you. That's really good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And also paying attention to meals and snacks. Provide a large meal at lunch and a lighter meal at dinner time. And that's helpful as well. That has been suggested by research. And so that's important to consider. It's also important not to include a lot of caffeine at that time later in the afternoon or evening to make sure that there is less sugar, caffeine, coffee, tea, and sodas um, after 3 p.m. None of that. Consider that after 3 p.m. Sodas, reduce caffeine, teas, and things like that. So again, this helps you to create a schedule of what breakfast will look like, what lunchtime will look like, and potentially what dinner will look like, so that you're able to go through your days with a sense of what you have to do at these times. And also remove the access to alcohol and cigarettes. That's really important because those things impact the brain, the health of the brain, and certainly impact sleep. Any comments or questions? So the idea of keeping a schedule, how many of you currently have a schedule with your loved one and that schedule has been working for you? For some of you who do not have a schedule, we would like to suggest that you create a schedule. You may have to change it a couple of times, but it is important to have one. And I want to hear from somebody whose schedule is doing really well.
All right, Petra. Because Barbara, is qualified and gotten hours from in-home supportive services. Have a caregiver come in, at 9 o'clock in the morning till 1, and then have the second caregiver come in from 1 till 8. So there's the morning routine, breakfast, get a meal delivered, by Meals on Wheels, for her midday meal, and incorporate in along with that, a bottle of Ensure. Make sure that Barbara gets sufficient amount of nutrition during the day, and sometimes I'll take that Ensure, mix it up, with some Greek yogurt, some other, frozen fruit, and make her a smoothie, so that she can have that along with her midday meal. Try not to have a lot of sugar, treats. Try to have some fruit, available for her. And that does help to tend, to keep her mood from fluctuating too much. Incorporating in a little bit of exercise also, because she does have arthritis in the right knee. So it is a little difficult for her to get up, and move around. But there are times when she is motivated, she wants to get up, so we have to make sure that someone is with her at all times, and making sure that she's going to be safe, whenever she is moving around the house. Unfortunately, with the weather conditions, it isn't always, suitable for her to go outside. But when she is able to get outside, I think that helps to, and lighten up her mood also, because she has other stimuli. She's able to see things. She's able to see, other houses in our neighborhood. We're close to the mountains. I'm way out in Palmdale. Way out far. 60 miles away from downtown LA, but I'm still in Los Angeles County. So we do have a little bit of weather extremes out here from time to time. But things have been working out well. With the scheduling, although we do have some flexibility in that schedule, sometimes we have to change it up. But for the most part, yes, we try to keep Barbara on a schedule and make sure that there isn't too many differences in her daily routine, because that does tend to cause a little bit of frustration on her part, and Barbara and I have been together for 30 years, but there are times when, yes, she does surprise me. If she gets in the mood, then guess what? The thing to do is back off, allow her the time and the space that she needs. And usually then, she will lighten up again, and want to participate, sometimes in conversation, sometimes watching a program on television. Sometimes we switch it up, and listen to some music. And don't think that she's paying attention and she's humming along, and or she might start singing, without any prompting. So yes, there are highlights during the day that tend to give me some indication that she's doing okay.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that schedule. That's a really good schedule. Anybody else has a schedule, or anybody else is thinking on creating a schedule for their loved ones at home?
My husband is still quite active, so he's in and out of the house. And I don't mean like going away from the house, but in our backyard area and so on. So he's self-sufficient in many ways. What I find is that even though I make sure he eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every minute of every day is open for treats. And he's always just consistently, going to the pantry or going to a certain cupboard to get something that he really likes, that he's either bought himself or picked out, or I know that he likes. And I try to do healthier options, but I'm wondering, and so then when it comes to dinner time, he doesn't think he's hungry, but whenever I put dinner out, he eats it. So I wonder how to avoid, with somebody who is more active and more independent, to avoid that constant thinking that he's got to be eating something all the time. And he's not overweight and none of that stuff. He's got great blood pressure and so on. But I also recognize that that probably isn't the best plan on my part.
Thank you for sharing that. I've heard that before, and we recommend that you share that information with his physician. Also, as you even said, to make sure that you have healthier options for him, so that whenever he does that, you already potentially have a small bowl of slices of fruit or something like that that he could appreciate. So it's what you bring into the home as well, because if there's sweet things there, that's what he will eat. So consider what you've said. You've responded to your own self by continuing the healthier options for foods. Anyone else?
And I just want to add, my sinus is acting up today. You might also just don't put the whole bag out at one time. Just put a few out, and when they're gone, oh, we have to get some more, and then in a few days you should put a few more out. Because if they're like me, as long as it's street, I can see it, I'm gonna eat it. That's the option.
That is very, thank you.
Kimberly, was that Jeannie? I didn't hear that very well.
Yes, Jeannie has, her allergies are acting up. And so what she said was, okay, here I am. What she said was, you could try not putting the whole bag out or making the whole bag available. Just put a little bit out, and when it's gone, it's gone. Then a couple of days later, you can put a little bit more. So it's kind of portion control.
Yes.
Because she said, as long as I see the whole bag, I eat the whole bag. Right? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Jeannie. We appreciate that. That definitely happens. And so thank you all for sharing that. One of the things that is also important here, and then I do, as you gave me access, I do have a video that kind of reinforces some of the discussion here. But there are some other ideas about just thinking a little bit about what that might mean for your loved ones to be able to not be sure about what is happening in their lives when the sun, you can no longer properly see inside the room wherever they are because the sun is going down and the light isn't on. And so you could imagine what that could bring about kind of emotionally and things like that. So again, it's really, really important to think about that and to make some of these changes. We suggest changes, but certainly not everything works for everyone. So it's important to continue to do what you can. There are some other ideas to be flexible. Sometimes one solution works literally one day and it doesn't work the next time. And so you really, really have to be flexible. And if it doesn't work, try something else. And you may have to do that for a while, but also reassure the person, provide calm for them, and that everything will be okay. You're with them, you love them, and also, as someone mentioned earlier, caring for a grandparent and they go in the room and talk to them, that's really, really good. That could be a reminiscing exercise, meaning that you're talking about with them the old days when things, when they were younger and things like that. And this is Black History Month, so certainly a good time to do reminiscing and talk about the old days, how things were, and get their feelings, and even use that as a time where you could record it and have that using your phone. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a video or just the recording of you having a conversation with your spouse or parent or grandparent. Any comments on that? One of the things that is also important is to always have a medication review. Medications sometimes interact with each other. So especially if a new medication has been introduced to what you're currently the regime is for that, to make sure that the pharmacist where you get the medications or the physician takes a look at all the medications and make sure that there can be no interactions, or there are no interactions that would cause any issues regarding the brain and how the brain perceives things and things like that, or add to sundowning and the confusion and potentially a behavior. So we want you to take that opportunity and use that because, again, certain prescriptions can cause confusion and agitation, and we don't want that to happen. So if you have not had a medication review, that means taking all your medications to the next doctor's appointment to just have them reviewed, or when you're picking up your latest prescription, ask the pharmacist to review all the medications. That's really important to do. Any questions, comments? And so caregiving, we know, can be challenging and overwhelming at times, but it's also rewarding. It's from the heart, and you get to still be really, really valuable, have valuable time with your loved ones, and to really enjoy who they are, even while they are living with this disease. So it's important you can record your journey by either journaling, by taking lots of photos and having memories and just snapping the memories, making sure that you share what's going on along this journey with other family members, especially if they don't live with you or in close proximity, that you're sharing this information with them. It's really, really important to do that, to share your journeys. But again, sundowning is something that occurs with many, many people. Sundowning can also get to the point where if the transition of the time may cause someone to kind of get up and start wandering around And maybe somebody mentioned wanting to go home. What does that mean? It means different things to different people. And wanting to get out, leave the home, especially if they are looking towards the door, they're already dressed, shoes on, and things, and may go out. And we know that wandering or getting lost is something that can occur. And that's another topic that we can talk about at another time. So there is a lot to consider when you are caring for someone with a dementia. We want you to know that participating in a support group is really, really beneficial. You get to hear things, be educated about other things of the that comes along in this journey. You also hear about so many other resources that people have identified, other members here have identified, so that become you can build your support system and make sure that you expand that way. Alzheimer's Los Angeles should be a part of your support system for a number of things, and specifically education. Before I share this video, I want to let you know that we have a number of other topics that we are starting to have these conversations about. So we hope that you will take advantage of those. Those will be offered every month for the next, starting in March, for the next few months. We want to see how what people think about these conversations. So they don't have to be an hour, they can be 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And just talking about specific topics that those of you who are caring for someone with a dementia may be interested in. So that's something that's coming soon. And I'm going to stop now if there are no more questions and share my screen for the video.
Uh,
So
oh.
go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to really back up what you've said. Shannon and Jeannie and have been a God-sent gift to Pansy and I. Pansy and I, we married at 16 and 18. We were married 68 years. And we've been part of the journey with ACTS for many years. So I just really want to say that because it's something that really helped me through this journey. Here I am now going on 87 years old, and it's just some of the gifts that you guys have established that helped me get to where I am to feel the way I am at my age. I just have to say that because there's people there, I'm looking in the audience, probably know or was part of my journey. But if you didn't know, I just want to say thanks to you two ladies. Again, that's me. That's Toto.
Thank you. That is wonderful. I had the opportunity to meet Pansy. She was a wonderful woman. Your story is a part of Black history, and this is the month. So I will send, there was a story, I don't know, Winston, if you shared it ever, but NPR did a story of your life, and that journey is amazing. So I could send that to Kimberly and she could share it because it's really, really wonderful. So thank you.
NPR, you're absolutely right. And thank you. And Petra, you've been along this journey with us, with me, us. And I want to thank you, just everybody, because it is tough. I mean, it's really, really, really tough because it's a disease that does not get better. And it takes a lot of patience. And I call it God sent patience for the caregiver to get through what they are going through or what they have gone through. So thank you again. I could almost write a story, but anyway, take care, guys.
You should.
So,
Hi, I have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I help take care of my grandmother. Two things. So she gets dehydrated a lot because she doesn't like to drink. However, she likes hot tea. But we give her the herbal tea, not the caffeinated tea. Is the herbal tea okay? Because I heard you mention to avoid the teas and caffeines and stuff like that.
Thank you for that question. I was referring to it after a certain time because that would affect the transition for evening, even could affect sleep. So it's important. I think in the mornings that would be fine. but also speak with the physician and see what he suggests. It really is important to have some liquid. So, but liquids can come from certain fruits as well. But drinking water is still good, and that's still beneficial for all of us. So try to incorporate a variety of things.
Yes, we have also incorporated watermelon, because it's you get really hydrated with the watermelon, but thank you for clarifying that. So after 3, I should avoid even the non-caffeinated teas.
Yes, that's what we're
Okay.
suggesting. Yes.
Okay, and then
Thank you.
one more
Sure.
thing, she has a hard time getting out the car when we get to certain locations. Literally, she'll sit in the car for like an hour or 2 and refuse to get out. And I was wondering if that had anything to do with the sundowners, but after like 2 or 3 hours of just sitting there and my mom and whoever else getting frustrated, it's like then she'll snap out of it and then get in the car and go where she has to, where she has to be. However, it causes a lot of frustration on my mom's end because she misses out on appointments and, it just jacks up her whole schedule. So I was just wondering if that had anything to do with sundowners and if you could give any advice on that.
Well, it depends on the time of your appointments, but every day will sort of be a new day, and you don't know what that's going to look like. And so for appointments, it could start off with, something's not going to work because it's been just a difficult task to get your grandmother dressed and ready to go anywhere. And so that starts, if it's a doctor's appointment, there have been many challenges with that. But I've heard that some have decided to, if it's a doctor's appointment and they're just struggling with getting dressed and groomed for the day. And I did hear one response was, well, I called the doctor's office and I told them she's coming in her pajamas. We're all coming in our pajamas.
This one's a little
And
bit more
they
subtle, the
understood
last one,
that.
there was a design in it,
Thank you.
Did he say something?
but this is.
Oh. Hey, Petra,
Yes.
I'm not here to say what can or what should be done, but I'll say for Winston Green, she will do what I will allow. And Winston Green would not allow her to sit there for 20 minutes and have me stand there. You know what I'm saying? And I know what's good for one is not good for the other. But hell, I'm sorry for using that word, but heck, I'll stand out there for a daggone hour if that was the case. But no, I would not allow it. And once she realized that in the early part of the journey, all the way to the end of the journey, something like that never happened. I'm just.
And I'll just, can you guys hear me? I can just, echo what Winston's saying. It's that, it's like when you have the toddler in the car and they're throwing a fit, and I know that dear sister who mentioned this, it's not easy. And certainly like Winston said, we don't have all the answers, but it's just having that focus of treating her like a child and giving her something to lure her out of the car, or closing the door and say, okay, well then, you enjoy your time here and then we'll come back. And of course, get out of the car and then kind of watch the car. It's the cajoling sort of thing to distract them like you do a child.
Yes. Yes.
And I can speak to that. I have this problem all the time. And so you have to get others to help you, especially at church. And once I get her in church, she doesn't want to leave church. But it is a task getting mommy in and out of the car. But again, as her sole care provider or giver, I have problem getting mommy out the car when we're at home. And as much as it pains me, I have to physically get her out the car gently.
Yeah.
Yes.
What may still seem like force to her, it's a gentle force with talking. We have to get out the car. And if she doesn't move, I take her little feet, I pull them out the car, step out the car for her, reach back in, pull her little body out, stand her up, and we are on our way to the door. You have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
Or like Mr. Winston said, you'll be
So
there all night, and she's fine.
this is Sonia. I'd like to make a suggestion. Some appointments can be just by phone appointments.
Telehealth, yes. That was the other point I was
So
going to make.
if You need to find out from the doctor what the visit is all about, and then see if you can arrange for them. And well, they can just do a phone visit. They can set up they'll call you. You can get on. They'll see you. They can see the patient, and go from there. Go through everything that they would, if they were there in the office. So if it can be a phone appointment, there's no point in taking them there, all the time. Sometimes it may be necessary, sometimes it's not. But to alleviate all that, the struggle and, frustration on both sides, try to do a phone appointment if that's possible.
Yeah, also, they're living in a little world of a story of their own. And so to create a story for them, something so, oh my gosh, you know what, look what time it is. Like maybe her son's name, Michael's going to be calling. We need to get in the house to get his call. So you give a different picture in their mind and give them a different motivation. Or, oh, that lemon meringue pie that was left over from last night, we've got it. And in all kindness, whether her son's calling or there's lemon meringue pie, by the time you get her out of the house and out of the car and into the house, it's like, oh, well, you know what? I realized that this is what we have instead. Or Michael called and he's going to be yelling us tomorrow morning, because they've already broken frame and are in a different world and might have even forgotten about the pie and the call. But your goal is to peacefully get her moved in with dignity and love, and honoring her so that your heart feels good about doing it. So those creating new stories isn't lying. It's just creating a new scene where for her to be in, for her to act in, for her to be that person in.
Thank you.
Therapeutic lie.
Thank you for all of these suggestions.
Petra, I do think all of these are great suggestions. I think it's just important to remember that dementia is not one size fits all.
Right.
And so you really have to figure out what works for your loved one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My mom was very stubborn, and she liked to be on the couch watching TV. And my dad and I both have sat there with her till 4 o'clock in the morning, starting at 7. It's time to go to bed. And she'll say, okay. And we go to help her up. And then she'd say, oh, I'm not ready to go to bed. And we alternated who would be there with her. And every few minutes, we'd like, it's time to go to bed, and talk about tiring until 4 or 5 o'clock when she said, okay, I'm ready to go to bed. So it's
But that TV
my
in your
dad
room.
is 6'3", right? And my mom was 5'5". So he definitely could have moved her, but it's just knowing
Yeah.
her person, right, that you're caring for.
Yeah.
Definitely one size fits all. I think Sharon has something.
Can you put a TV in
I
her room?
want to share something. My sister Vivian here is a retired manager of Department of Motor Vehicles. And one thing that we need to know about is how you can get that handicap placard, which is so helpful. Now, my darling mother was a proud sister. Oh, no. I don't want that. So I think Vivian told her, you special. This is a special treatment for you. But Vivian will tell you real quick how you can get that placard. And that will be so helpful that you don't have to park far away. You can park in the handicap spot.
Right.
Well, just tell them how they can talk to the doctor and get it.
Okay, so, yes, if you're having a person that's struggling and with walking or distance or whatever, mobility, talk with the doctor. You can download the application from the DMV website. Your doctor, most doctors are supposed to have it at their facility. When you go there, they should already have it. You can go by the DMV and pick one up from the information desk. You take it into the physician. You fill in your portion on the front for your particular person, or if it's for yourself. And on the back side is where the doctor puts in the diagnosis, if it's a temporary, permanent, or whatever. So they'll know which placard to give you. Permanent placard is free, temporary is the cost. The cost of the fees have gone up a bit, so I don't know exactly how much it is. You can mail it in, take the person with you. You'll be able to get it the same day on a visit, make an appointment, or just walk in and let them know the disability. They should give you a special number. So it's not really difficult, and I think I told mom it was like preferred parking. But I gave it a really cute title because definitely she did not want to have a handicap back then. I could not tell her that. So I made up some little story, so she was okay with that. So just some information for you guys. Thank you.
All right.
Back to
Thank you all
teacher,
so
as
much.
Mr. Green was saying.
Thank you all. I'm going to share right now.
My grandfather has Alzheimer's. He can't live on his own anymore, so I recently moved him in with me. Over the past few weeks, I've started to notice he's much more confused and disoriented around dinner time. What's going on?
Your grandfather's behavior appears to change at the end of the day, and you're wondering if there's a reason for it. At a certain point, some people with dementia experience a phenomenon called sundowning. They often experience increased confusion, irritability, and restlessness that happens later in the afternoon as the sun begins to set. No one knows exactly why this happens. Some people believe that as a person's brain changes because of the disease, their biological clock becomes affected, and they can't tell the difference between sleep and wake times. If the person does not see as well, sometimes the changing light at sunset can cause disorientation. Your grandfather may feel agitated, bored, or depressed. He may be overtired or restless from the day and no longer able to handle stress. As the light changes inside and outside of the house, he may confuse shadows with real images and hear sounds that are not there. He may even think he actually needs to be somewhere else, even though it's nighttime, which can cause him to pace or wander around the house. While sundowning is disorienting and frightening for your grandfather, it can be overwhelming and exhausting for you, his caregiver. Not only are you experiencing your grandfather's agitation firsthand, he may be staying awake during the night, which affects your sleep and overall well-being. To manage this situation, try and stick to a daily routine and regular schedule. Have your grandfather get up the same time every day, make his bed, eat breakfast, shower, go out for a walk or exercise. Don't overschedule him. Instead, keep your grandfather busy with simple and enjoyable activities that will tire him out by evening. Avoid daytime naps and plan outings and appointments for earlier in the day when your grandfather may be more focused and have more energy. For some people, it's helpful to make lunch the biggest meal of the day and to limit caffeine, sugar, and soda in the afternoon, as they can stimulate and add to his agitation. In the later afternoon, before day turns to night, keep the rooms in the house well lit and try to keep an uncluttered space to avoid confusion. In the evening, try keeping the volume low on TV or music to encourage a quiet and calm environment. If you notice your grandfather tends to pace or wander around, clear a path to make sure he doesn't trip or fall over rugs or furniture in his way. Be patient. If your grandfather senses your stress, it may increase his own. Comfort him and ease any fears he may have. Try changing the subject or starting an activity you know he enjoys. And don't hesitate to talk to your grandfather's doctor to see if there's a medication that may be helpful in easing his anxieties. Remember, sundowning is a real part of this journey for many people. He's not doing it on purpose. But with understanding and planning, you can help make that time of day a bit easier for you both. For more caregiver assistance, please visit us at alzheimersla.org or call us at 844-HELP-ALZ.
I hope that was helpful, kind of a recap of what we talked about today. And I will make sure that Kimberly gets that video so she could include it. And I do have two more questions to ask. And one of them is, I hope that you were able to learn something new today. That is always important when we share information. Again, we are having conversations with these topics. The conversations will begin March. I get to start mine today, but they will begin in March, and they will be on a variety of topics: sundowning and anger and repeating, and all of those topics that affect caregiving. There will be scheduled by a variety of facilitators, so it's not just only me, it's others who are doing this. We want to make sure that we help and assist caregivers in the journey of caregiving. And I think there was a question that I saw that you had, Barbara.
Yes, how to get on your distribution list for Alzheimer's Los Angeles.
Okay, I will send that information to Kimberly as well. And so that way you will be able to see what's being offered. We do offer many of these courses. Also, as you are a caregiver, that we would love for you to take the Savvy Caregiver course. It really is important, and it helps with your journey to understand what is dementia, the progression of it, your role as a caregiver, how to make sure you prioritize self-care so that you can continue your journey. And so that's important. And ultimately, we want to hear, and Sharon, Jeannie, and I will do have a conversation with them. One of the things that I want to do, and I mentioned it last year, is to have an in-person class a couple times a year with everyone, those of you who can attend during the week, or you know somebody that can attend at where you are in 54th Street, and to be able to continue to educate our community. So we want to know that if there are any issues that would prevent you from showing up or online or in person, that we want to figure out how do you get your information. So these are just questions that we're looking to ask and get some responses from, to know how do we best educate those who are in the throes of caregiving and are and need our support. Alzheimer's Los Angeles is here to support you as you support your loved one. So thank you for your time. I appreciate Axe and everyone here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra.
Thank you.
Petra, is it something easy enough to put in the chat if somebody wants to know right now how to get on?